Tina, welcome to the show.
Luke, thank you for having me.
How you feeling?
I'm good, man. I'm excited. I'm excited we're doing this.
I'm excited as well.
Yeah.
I love the fit.
Thank you, man. You like my muumuu jacket?
I do.
I feel very Gen Z in my outfit today, to be honest. I feel like I'm trying to keep up with the young culture, the young kids.
Happens to all of us.
But yeah.
Got to embrace the aging.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But I do feel pretty cool in this jacket, I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
Top 10.
Looks great.
Thank you.
Well, I'm excited to have this conversation today. I know we've been trying to do it for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
And the focus of today is to go a little bit deeper, right? I know you've done some podcasts recently with other folks, and we want to really build a foundation of who you are, what made you into the Tina we know, which we often don't see on social media or other views of you. So totally excited about having that conversation to go a little deeper and get to know each other a little bit better.
Dang, it's like the first time I'm actually going deep about my own self.
I know.
It is a good point because I feel like people really do know me. I mean, people know me, but like the surface, right, of what they see, like as a coach or as a friend or whatever. So this is gonna be exciting.
I'm excited.
I'm gonna give you all my demons. I'm just kidding. But I think this is a great start, and it helps me think about what I want to talk about, because I think to really understand somebody, you got to dive into like their childhood, right, and understand their experiences. So I think I'll start with like my parents. They divorced when I was 2. So that kind of kicked off everything for me. But my mom, she was born and raised in the Philippines. So she moved here when she was about 20. And she is the youngest out of 7 sisters.
Wow.
Which is insane. So my grandma got very freaky, and bless her heart, I could only imagine that household, because my aunts are like psycho in the best way. They're crazy.
It's a lot of girls.
Yeah, a lot of girls. A lot.
Poor dad.
Yeah, seriously, my poor grandpa. Yeah, so, and being the youngest, she was, I love her to death, but probably the most irresponsible one. Party starter, just big energy, which makes sense because I probably got my personality from her. She's literally crazy. But being that, she was kind of always the one that was like watched on, right, by all the sisters. So when my parents had me, it was like a big deal for the family, because again, she was like the most responsible one. And the thing with Filipino culture is that family is involved in everything. Like they know everything, and we're all just like super, super close. And they're a very, very tight-knit group of gals. Obviously they're sisters, but so when I had me, my aunt, who I consider my mom, she also raised me. I would say she was the one that really took care of me. And not that my mom didn't, but she was kind of like that, more of a mother figure. And my dad, born and raised in New York, and he is complete opposite of my mom, like night and day. Mom is crazy, party, fun girl, and my dad is kind of more quieter, kept to himself. And so it's just 2 completely opposite people, and also raised in 2 completely different cultures too, right? Like my mom's Filipino as fuck and my dad is white as fuck. So I think in my childhood, I kind of struggled with understanding like what my identity is culturally, right? Because I have 2 very different backgrounds. And then also just the instability of the way that I was raised. Like I would say I wasn't raised in your typical household. Yeah. I bounce around like a lot. And, I would go from my mom's house, or mainly being at my aunt's house, to my dad's when, he lived 3 hours away actually, because I'm born and raised in Los Angeles, California, and he moved to Orange County, which is, again, 3 hours away. So it just was a lot of moving around to where I felt kind of honestly like really lonely, and didn't feel like I had a proper family.
Yeah.
Which I don't want to make it sound like I had a super shit childhood, because the awesome thing is that I had so many different support systems, and I'm kind of like listening to what I'm saying, and it kind of sounds fun, right? Like as a young child, you get to just kind of go, to your cousin's house, to your mom's house, you get all these different people you get to hang out with. But at that time, like I struggled with it so much because I didn't feel a sense of belonging, or a sense of like I had my own family. And I would compare myself a lot to my friends who, I swear to God, just had like the perfect, grass is always greener, but a perfect American like family. Like you sit at the table every night, go around the table. How was your day? What did you learn at school? And which we'll talk about, but I played basketball. So I was really close with my teammates, and then I became close with their families. So again, and I stayed with them as well too. So I just really, really grew up kind of all over the place. And I think that set the things with like my mental health of when I was younger, right? Feeling lonely, instability, not feeling like I had my own family. So that I struggle with that a lot. And I think that is a huge part of why I'm so passionate about people and wanting to bring together people or coach or, because I want that sense of belonging, and I want people to feel that too, if they feel lonely. And then, so that's kind of my main childhood right there.
So when did you realize that the chaos was something that wasn't normal to other folks, right? Because your parents were divorced at 2, right? For a while, that was just what you knew. You knew that you were kind of bouncing around. When did it hit to say, you know what, this is something that's causing me stress as a child?
Yeah.
And then what were those outlets that you allowed yourself to kind of feel like yourself that you found?
Totally. I think probably when I developed an opinion, right? I think probably around like middle school is when I started to feel like just depressed. And as a child, you don't even know what depression is, right? Or you don't even know, you can't even cope with your feelings of, I was angry. I lashed out at my parents all the time. Like even to this day, our relationships are so much better now that I'm older, because I can look back and understand, they did the best that they could with the situation they had. And I love them to bits and pieces, and I can see the support. It might look different, but it was there, and, but I didn't know how to cope with my emotions. So my outlet was basketball. And I played basketball like all my life, been an athlete since I was younger. Like I'm sure the minute someone gave me a ball, I probably threw it in a hoop. And I love talking about this because basketball is what saved me, and being an athlete is what saved me truly. Because it was something where I could have that sense of belonging, right? Like when you're an athlete, so like when you're competing for something, one, individually, right? It pushes you. It was my outlet to be competitive. Taught me so much grit. I can be aggressive because, I've always had a big personality. And then on the like sentimental side, like I was able to bond with people that really cared about me, and I cared about them. And even when you're that young, you don't realize it like this, but you're battling with people to achieve something. And that just got me going like every single day. Like I literally was so addicted to basketball. I didn't care about school. I didn't care about anything else but this sport, because it was my safe space. And it just, again, like taught me so much, like I'm such a huge advocate for sports at such a young age, or even as an adult, because it brings people together, even if you're just watching it. You know what I mean? Like, like I'm sure you go to the bar with some friends, you watch sports, and it's like the most fun thing in the world.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And, but I learned so much, and it was just such a safe space for me. And then I experienced just learning from coaches, and then learning from your teammates, and just being dialed into something that you love so much, so it helped me cope, in the physical way.
It gave you stability in a world outside of basketball that was chaos, right?
Exactly.
Everything else was wild.
Yeah.
But basketball was there. It was stable. You knew exactly what to expect every time.
Yes. Yeah. Like I just go into practice, and everything that I was struggling with, I would forget. Yeah. And to be honest, I look at that now in the situation that I am in, and because I want to face, even now, like I'm still healing. I want to face my demons. And when I was younger, basketball, as much as it saved me, was also, it could have been a distraction too, right? To not talk about, or to not think about what I was going through, because when I was feeling like so lonely, like I didn't know how to cope, and I also didn't know how to talk about it. Like I never talked to my family about it. I never like told my mom, it was just more lashing out. Right. It was just crying for help, in a very opinionated young girl way. Yeah. But I didn't start talking to people until I was like 18. Like my best friend, I remember, Jessie, if she's watching this, she's gonna probably cry. But on my birthday, I think what I'd turn. I think I actually turned 18. Yeah, I turned 18. And we were just, being goon, just laid out. And I think we went to like a hookah lounge because I would turn 18 and that's what I could do. And I remember sitting in the car with her, and I just like freaking broke down. And I told her everything, my struggles, like since I was younger, like feeling lonely, not having stability, feeling like my family didn't really like care about me. Just, I don't know. And it was like this breath of fresh air, because it was like the first person that I truly opened up to. And then from there, it was just a game changer. you know, where I was like, it took me time to maybe trust somebody to talk about my feelings, right?
Right.
And instead of, you know, just going day to day, being distracted, whatever, like it was the first time I opened up, and then that just, again, changed everything for me.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah, that all hits home because obviously I am a single parent as well. I have a 5-year-old daughter.
Yeah.
Me and her mom co-parent. We split 50-50. And she's getting to that point where she's starting to develop her own opinion, similar to what you faced, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I worry that at some point she'll look back and be in the same place you were, where you're frustrated and you feel like you're alone, you're having to bounce between houses.
Yeah.
As you look back on your experience as a child before you got to the point where you felt like you were able to open up, what would you say to maybe parents that are out there going through the same thing to say, you know what, I wish I would have had this from my parents at that time to help me feel safe in that place?
Yeah, and that's huge. I mean, this is what I love about you, because you're one of, we're getting to know each other more, but like from what I see, you're one of the best dads out there.
That.
Yeah. And I think that, you know, if I were to have a conversation like with my parents or something, and what would have helped is just honestly like talking. Because like you know, growing up, my dad and I have a better relationship now that I'm older, but when I was younger, like I never felt like I could talk to him about things or tell him how angry I was at him for not being in the same household that my mom was in. You know, like it's such a foreign, when you're that young, it's literally your brain is not capable of understanding or putting yourself in your parents' shoes and understanding why they divorced. It was always just like literally, like I remember, you know, my mom forcing me to go to therapy, and I couldn't do it because I was just so angry. Like I didn't want to talk to anyone. It was just more of like, but if, you know, my parents would really sit me down and be like, hey, are you, like, I understand this is different for you. How are you? You know, but again, like I look back, like my mom is from the Philippines. Like America is very different than, you know, where she's from. And I know that she went through things in her childhood that caused her to be the, you know, the person that she is today too. And maybe she didn't know how to even cope herself or talk about things, or maybe she felt uncomfortable because she was dealing with her own struggles, right? Like I can look back at that now and understand, but I think it would have just helped so much of just like sitting me down, and because I'm an emotional girl, and I was emotional when I was younger, and I think it would have been really nice to just be like, hey, like I see you, tell me what you're feeling, talk to me, kind of thing. Yeah. Because I had no one to talk to, you know.
And it was the perception that you built up in your head that they're not coming to me, so I can't go to them.
Exactly. Yeah. And totally. Like, I think, I mean, you know, it's not, I would say it's not my job as a 5-year-old to know that, right? But I wish that someone in the support system would have been like, hey, it's okay to talk about what you're going through. Like, because also being an athlete at such a young age too. And I feel like it's different in this day and age now, but when I was younger and my coaches, like, they kind of just teach you, just go through it. Yeah. My ankles are fucked up. And because when I would hurt him, I didn't want to miss out on the game. Right. So you keep playing, you tape it up and you go. Right. So I think I also learned from that too, like mentally, just like, oh, you're sad, figure it out and fucking keep going.
Right. Rub some dirt on it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I think it's like both the physical and the mental, they kind of transfer together, and I was so used to that mentality of just like, sad, figure it out. Right. Your ankle's hurting, ice it, get your ass back in the game because we have to fucking win. Right. You know, and even then that sounds horrible, but I'm also grateful for that mentality too, because that's what also pushed me to do the things I'm doing today. Yeah. You know, I mean, there's all of the decisions I make now, like I, again, attribute that to the mindset that I had, but they also don't teach you how to deal with your emotions too. Right. Compared to, I think, kids now these days, people are talking more about mental health, and that's so awesome because I know kids are still going through it. And then you add TikTok.
Yeah, right? It makes it way harder.
Exactly. But to go back to your question, I think if I would have just had somebody as a parent or as a guardian or as a parental figure, just say like, hey, sit down, like get me to sit down, and how are you feeling genuinely, and not make me feel uncomfortable about it. Like, you know, your situation, like just being upfront, like, yeah, situation's different, because that's what I was comparing it to, right? Like my friends who had mom, dad, siblings, because I'm also an only child too. Right. So I really, really felt lonely in that too. Like I couldn't talk to, you know, I had cousins who I was close with, but they were also raised in households that were together. So it's like, yeah, hey, your situation's different. Your parents are different they're different people that are in different lives. Like, you don't see your dad as much. Like, how are you feeling in that?
Right.
You know? And again, like, I didn't really feel like anybody really did that, or I didn't do that for myself until I turned 18.
Yeah.
So I went that whole time just so secluded.
Feeling alone.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
As you reflect on that time, and I know we want to get to the point of where you were able to open up and
Mhm.
trust someone to share your emotions, but prior to that, if you look at the qualities that you developed through
Mhm.
some of those struggles, what would you say those were, and the ones that you're proud of?
Yeah. I think, honestly, one that I will not be humble about myself is that I don't make excuses, and I'm super fucking stubborn, like, in the worst way, but also in the best way, because I don't take no for an answer, right? And I think the struggles that I went through, again, has super shaped me into the person I am today. And I think it's just the grit and the mentality of, like, being in that situation and feeling all those things. And you know, there were super, super dark times. Like,
Yeah.
obviously I'm not gonna go into, like, the dark depths of it, but, like, it was really, really, really rough for me.
Yeah.
And I think just going through that, it just makes you stronger. You know,
Right.
like, I've read some things where it's like, that doesn't define who I am. Like, that childhood trauma doesn't, it helped me it shaped me to who I am today, but it that's not the definition of who I am. That's
Right.
what I experienced,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I think, again, I'm grateful. I'm grateful for it. And I think it made me mentally stronger. And
Makes it easier to do
yeah,
hard things now, right?
exactly. Yeah.
Because you've already
Yeah.
done really
Yeah.
hard things in
Yeah. Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
Okay, so you get to the point where you're 18,
Mhm.
you finally open up.
Yeah.
How does this change you?
Well, one, I felt like now one is lifted off, right? All
Yeah.
those, like, let's just say, like, 15, whatever years of childhood trauma to me, off my shoulder and into the hands of someone that I can trust, that really knows me, right? And and then any time that something was triggering for me, I felt like I can go to Jessie and be like, "Hey, can we, like, talk about it?" And she was just, Jessie's like she's the nicest person you'll ever freaking meet. She better be watching this. But yeah, she's the nicest person you can ever meet, and it's just so, it's so, it makes you feel so good when you have, like, a support system.
Right.
You know, because when you're so lonely, it's like the worst feeling in the world. And I know, you know, we don't have to talk about COVID and stuff, but everyone experienced that, right? Just being so isolated.
Yeah.
It is so unhealthy.
Yeah.
And it's so scary. So just, even if it's one person, you know, and then it made me, okay, I trust this person. And then I have multiple friends that I can talk to about too, who are just like her. You know, I'm not going to list off all the best friends. They're probably going to get mad that I'm not, like, mentioning them. But, like, you know, you let yourself open up one time, you're opening yourself up more for the opportunity to open up to more people.
Right.
So I think it just changed the way that I view connections too.
Right.
Right.
I think that's a great point. And I have always struggled in my life to connect in a deep level, right? And the reason being is I often ask a lot of questions of someone.
Yeah.
And want to get to know them and want them to talk, but I don't necessarily lead with anything that allows me to open up. And I've found that as I've been able to cope with that, really true connection means you have to be a little bit vulnerable,
Yeah.
right? You have to share some of the depths of yourself to then allow others to feel like it's a safe place where they can do the same. Otherwise, relationships stay surface level.
Surface level. And there's nothing fun about surface level.
Nothing.
Like, you know, that's why I love that you opened up with this question, because even, you know, I'm even saying things I didn't think I was going to even say on a podcast that's going to be public. But, you know, I think it's beautiful to allow yourself to be vulnerable, because people are going through so much shit, and allowing yourself to speak your truth is going to help, right? Which is why I'm in this field too, which I'm sure we'll talk about. But yeah.
I think it's amazing too, because it's not like you share your emotions once and you never have them again.
Yeah.
Right? Throughout your whole life, you're going to experience ups and downs and highs and lows. And being able to say, you know what, I'm somebody who can share that with someone and feel okay doing so, knowing that they're not going to judge me.
Yeah.
That's a pretty powerful thing to have.
Yeah. And then I think if you also run into the position where you do get judged, right? It's like, how do you handle that too?
Yeah.
And that's another scary thing too. And I'm sure everyone has experienced, like, I know, like, dating, you know, or friendships, drama, whatever, or like career stuff, like things don't work out. It's like, how do you deal with that? And again, like, I can look back on my childhood, and I always tell myself, when something bad happens, right? I used to, you have two options. You either this is going to sound horrible, but you either be a little bitch and just sit back and just complain and cry or whatever, or you feel it and then you do something about it, right? Like, and I always tell people, like, I'm a super action oriented person, and I think I learned that through the struggles, because that's the only thing that helped me. Yeah. When I finally took action into talking about my problems, everything changed. Right. And I love to talk. So once that happened, then it was like, okay, Jesse. Yeah. Hey, I'm gonna call you tomorrow night. We're gonna talk about the same thing. Yeah. But actually, the fun thing with her is I got super close with her family, and her and her family allowed me to stay with them too. So she was like one of typical American. I mean, grass always greener. She's got her own stuff with her family, but just learning and living. She's got 5 siblings. Wow. Yeah. So it was like just a fun situation, and it was cool because then I felt like I was in their family too, and I learned different things because they're a whole different compared to my family, right? So
yeah. Did it make you see, what, I wish I would have had that unit, or is like, what, just having friends that I could be a part of that? I
also learned too, like, sometimes having siblings doesn't seem like the best thing in the world. Like I'm sure if I was younger, like because her and her sisters fought all the time. Yeah. And it was very entertaining, and they're awesome. But definitely it's kind of nicer to sometimes be an only child and then get to just talk to your friends.
Yeah. So I think all of this sums up into, this is your character, right? You grew up and it became who you are. Mm. And there's a quote that I have here from Helen Keller. It says, "Character cannot be developed in ease and quiet. Only through experience of trial and suffering can the soul be strengthened, ambition inspired, and success achieved." Which means you can't get to be a super successful person without going through some struggle. Yeah. Right? Life is not easy. Nope. And if you shy away from facing up to those challenges, you're going to continue to struggle. Yeah. So it's a testament to you that you faced up to it. You recognized that there were things that you were pushing off to the side, and now are able to pave your way forward.
Totally. Yeah. And moving forward, like past childhood, now I'm entering into young adulthood and everything. And when I feel like when I look back, there's so many pivotal points for me where I feel like, I had to make a decision. You either stay here or you grow, right? Or you do something hard and you just continue. And when like I said, so I played basketball, right? All the way up. I played up to the collegiate level, and just being so addicted to it. And when I was done with that sport, then I went into, again, another really, really hard thing for me, because when you are so dedicated to a sport, I know you can agree with this. Yeah. Like, so the school that I went to, they have this term called NARP, okay? And it stands for non-athletic regular person. And when I became a NARP, I went through depression so bad because I felt like I lost my identity, right? Like you're so, so what I'm thinking of, I can't think of it, but you train and you compete for so long. That's all you know, right? Yeah. And then it's like, when you don't have that, it's like, hey, what the fuck do I do now? Right? Not only do I'm not practicing every day or trying to compete for the championship, I also physically don't have somebody telling me what to do. Right? And I just felt super, super lost. And I went through a time where I was just like, okay, well, I also had to make a decision. Well, okay, you're not going to the WNBA. What are you going to do now? Mm-hmm. And then I started to think about my career, and I kind of got pushed into nursing. And yeah, so I'm a nurse. I didn't talk about that, but I got pushed into nursing because, I also wasn't raised super financially stable either. Like, so I knew I wanted to go into like a respectable profession that was going to make me great money and support the lifestyle that I would like to live. Right. And I'm also Filipino, so that's like a stereotype too, right? So it just kind of happened. And then I moved out here, and this was I moved out here 2015, 2016. It's kind of crazy. It's like freaking 2024. It's a long time ago now. Crazy. Yeah. So I moved out here to go to the nursing program at Boise State. And, I knew that I wanted to be in a profession that I could help people and be around people, because I learned right from my childhood in basketball that I love being on a team or just helping people, right? And so I was just like, all right, whatever, it's going to make me great money. Let's do it. And it was cool in the beginning. And then my last year in the program, again, I like went through another like depression, and because I knew that this wasn't the career path for me. And every day I just went to school and I was just like, oh, you kind of, because they also teach you in college, like you just go get your degree and then you go work for the degree that you get. Right. So, but every day I was just like struggling because I just was like, dude, And I'm not that I'm stubborn, right? I don't like to do things that I don't want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I just really was like such a little pain. Like sometimes I didn't even, hopefully none of my old professors watch this, but like I didn't even go to classes sometimes. That's how much I did not want to be a nurse. I remember doing like, you have preceptorships where you clinicals. And there were times where like I literally went to the hospital and then I left. I really hope that this doesn't get me in trouble. It probably won't, right?
Oh, you passed somehow.
I did pass, right?
You can't get bad grades as a nurse either. You got to get pretty high grades. So you must be pretty smart.
I'm telling you, I'm going to tell you a story.
Yeah.
Was this my last year? I can't even remember. Anyways, one of these semesters we were doing mother and baby labor and delivery. And I already knew also because you go through all the rotations. Like I was more into like trauma because right, like a crazy energy. I want to see like broken bones and gunshots and shit. And so I was like, I really am not going to be a labor and delivery nurse. I do not care to watch childbirth.
You said it in a weird way.
I did say it weird because I didn't sound right. And what was I on? I was on the NICU, and the nurses there, I mean, bless their hearts, seriously, like, God, they're so amazing. I was in the room and I was just like, man, I really don't want to freaking be here. Like I know I don't want to be in this department. I just don't even care, honestly, to learn about it because I was so checked out. And I told my teacher that my roof collapsed and I have to go home.
Your roof collapsed.
Isn't that crazy?
And she believed you. Oh, just a random normal roof collapse.
No, he was pretty cool. He was actually a pretty cool guy. Yeah, and then I went home and then I told him that I'd be back before our meeting. Because like you do your preceptor, your clinical, and then you meet after and you talk about like what you learned in that day. Yeah, so I literally went home, skipped the whole clinical, and then I just showed up right when I had to. I look back now, I'm like, Jesus, that's
you
horrible.
Worked the system, didn't you?
Yeah, I did just a little bit, but other than that, so I went through that depression of just not wanting to be a nurse, but I'm not a quitter either, right? So I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna get my fucking degree and just do it and figure it out. And then now I'm fast forward to my last year, I got into the group fitness industry, and I started going to this kickboxing gym, and it just changed things again for me. Like I felt like an athlete again. Like I'm in a class full of different people, and then I'm like physically working out. Like so, I feel like that grit. Like I'm like kicking shit.
Right.
And a month in, and they asked me, they're just like, "Hey, like, have you ever thought about coaching?" And I was like, no, like I like to be around coaches because that's like basketball, right? But I never really thought about actually being the person that's leading somebody through a workout or whatever. And they're like, yeah, you would be so good at it. You have great energy, blah, blah, blah. Like, I think you should give it a shot. And I also already had boxing and kickboxing background because I actually did train after I was done with basketball. I did some training in California. So I already like the sport or whatever. And I was just like, all right, fuck it. So I started coaching and I fell in love with it. Like it just made me feel so at home because I have this big crazy personality and I was like in a room where I can help people. I had like a mic on, we're listening to super fun music and we're just working out, just kicking ass. And people loved me for me, like my energy and so it was awesome. So I got super addicted and then, so now I started to struggle with like, okay, here's this thing that I fucking love to do. I'm so passionate about it. Like I think, I started like going on YouTube and typing, how do I become a better coach? Like watching motivational videos or researching like just different ways to lead people through exercises and anatomy and all these different things. And of course I had like the nursing background too. So it kind of just went hand in hand with like body. And then, so I had that such positive reinforcement and so much fun. And then I would go to nursing school and be like, I fucking hate this. I don't care. I don't want to do this kind of thing. And so, I went through that battle of like, okay, here's something that makes me really, really happy, but I already am in school for this and I have to finish it out and do it and make my family proud, right? So I graduated and I was still still coaching. And then they then asked me to, be like to manage and things. And then I was like, oh my God. So in my last semester, I was like managing, coaching, and nursing school. And I look back now, I'm like, I don't know how the fuck I did it because in your last semester, you have to complete 200 hours. And I did night shift in the ED.
Wow.
So I was like doing your 7 p.m. to 7 a.m., right? Trying to go to school. And then like, I didn't care. I would make it work because I loved coaching. And then I also learned that I love fitness and business and people. So I would, do my night shift and then the next day go and be a freaking coach or manager or whatever.
Right.
So it was just a crazy last semester for me. And when I graduated, like I mean, throughout that whole experience, I already knew what I was going to do. I was like, yeah, I'm going to get my degree because I don't quit, but I'm not going to be a nurse, or
Wow.
I'll fake it till I make it. Like I'll
Right.
tell people that I'm a nurse, but I'm really not, you know?
Right.
And I didn't even take my NCLEX. Like I went a whole year. So I graduated 2015, 2016. I graduated. I moved out here 2018. Jesus, I can't remember what year I graduated. So I graduated and I took a whole year off of nursing. I didn't even take my NCLEX or study for it. Like I literally dismissed it. And then that was a struggle too, because, you know, I want to make my family proud, because I went through that like instability and just like, you know, lacking whatever. And so I had to tell myself, like, you're either going to live for you or you're going to live for other people.
Sure.
Because then I also worried about like, you know, I care about what people think about me and appearances and who doesn't, right? So I was just like, well, what are people going to think knowing that I like didn't continue nursing and to go be a coach, right? Like
Right.
you hear that and it sounds stupid. Like how much are you making coaching compared to how much you're making as a nurse, or
Sure.
or it's a real career compared to what, you know? But then I was just like, you know, it's my life. So I went, and then that caused, you know, a lot of family issues with me where I kind of cut my family off.
Oh.
I completely just was like, if you don't support what I'm doing, fuck off kind of thing. Yeah. Right. So then again, I went back into that mindset of like, now no one supports me. I'm lonely, but I'm so passionate about like what I want to do. It's my life. I'm going to make it happen.
Yeah.
And then of course it was easier because I live in a different state. Right. So, you know, and then I had such awesome friends and a good support system. So it kind of felt like I was reliving my childhood again.
Yeah.
Right. So I kind of learned some things from there, and then things didn't work out. I ended up going back into nursing. So, because I got to make money, right?
Right.
So I ended up, which was really fucking hard because now I didn't practice at all. I don't remember what I learned in school. I mean, you remember things, but not as fresh as it was when I first graduated, right? So I had to study for 3 months. I just studied my ass off. And this test is, if I think about it too much, it gives me like nightmares. Like that test is insane. Like the way that they word the questions is like every answer is right, but you have to pick the one that's the most right. So it's like, what the fuck?
Those.
Yeah. So I studied, you know, and then I ended up passing the first time, which is
nice.
Crazy. Like
amazing.
Yeah. And then I started working as an OR nurse. And that was a whole nother experience too, because I actually, even though I didn't want to be a nurse, I actually enjoyed working in the OR because it's very team oriented. Mm-hmm. So, you know, of course you have like the surgeon, and then you're kind of like the nurse that circulates on the outside, taking care of the patient, setting them up for surgery. Right. And, but again, I still was like, I know this is not what I'm supposed to do.
Right.
This is just patching something up until I figure out what I'm going to do next. Right. Cause you got to pay your bills and whatever.
Yeah.
And then I got back into coaching. And then that was like another sign for me. I was like, okay, you're in this situation again where your passion is back, right? You have an opportunity where you can do the things that you love. Right. So then again, I was like, I quit nursing and I fully sent it. And I was like, I made the decision that I am not just going to work, you know, be one of those people that just does 9 to 5, work for benefits, whatever, work for a great paycheck. Like I had to kind of switch the way that you think about wealth or like having a stable life.
I think a good way to think about it, if you look back at what you just outlined, you came out of sports and there was always this goal at the end of it I want to go to the NBA or WNBA.
Yeah.
Right. I want to make money. I want to be this professional basketball player. And that was kind of an end goal for you, but it was really focused on yourself, right?
Yeah.
Like, how can I make money through this thing that I love?
Mm-hmm.
Then it was, all right, now I'm going to move on to my next thing, struggling with jumping from an identity of this end goal to realizing that's not going to come true to another end goal of now I'm going to try to make money through nursing.
Right.
It's not necessarily the path itself of along the way, I enjoy the things that nursing brings. It's nursing provides me with money.
Right.
Right.
That was all it was. Yeah.
Then you transition into coaching, and coaching is, I am giving, right? Yeah. I'm giving this experience to the people that come to my class.
Yeah.
I am helping them in their lives have healthier lives and be more mentally stable and all these things that come along with being a coach.
Yeah.
I'm pushing them to new limits.
Yeah.
And through that, you're able to say, you know what, this thing that I love, this athletic background that made me who I am, I'm now giving people that same outlet and experiencing more of a purpose along the way versus trying to reach an end goal.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that's a great way to put it. And it, you know, because I knew again I wanted to help people, and like nursing, you help people. I mean, not I don't want to make nursing also sound like it's a horrible profession. Like some of my best friends are nurses, and it again just wasn't for me, and it didn't help me in the way that I wanted to impact people. Because as I got older, I was also knew I was like, I know that I'm a giver. Like I've always been told I have this like energy, and I always wanted to somehow give that to other people. So I was like, okay, when people are dying or at their worst, like what better way to help someone than that, right?
Absolutely.
But nursing's hard.
Yeah.
Like, and I mean, there's many different departments, but like the main thing was that I experienced where I knew I didn't want to do was like being on the floors where, they kind of, I had like, you get 5 to 6 patients, and then you kind of just like popping around. And also the patients didn't want to hear what I had to say. Like I was like this young nurse. I mean, and I was just like, okay, I can help you actually get off your blood pressure medication, your cholesterol medication, like all these medications if you do this, whatever, but they don't want to hear it. They're just like, where's the fucking doctor? And then, you take so much of that with my mindset. And I was like, this isn't fueling my cup. Like no one's listening to me. This isn't a way that I want to impact people or help people, and then you go into the fitness industry where people are willing and coming to you because they want to change their life. Right. So that definitely helps. And then you become this like outlet for people. And, but I think like the biggest thing too is, and I think it's important to talk about, is making the decision when you're not happy, being confident in yourself and figuring out and doing something that does make you happy.
Absolutely.
And yeah, go ahead.
Talk me through that a little bit, because you mentioned you had to say, you know what, family, this is a decision that I have to make for myself. Talk me through that thought process and how that, I mean, obviously making that change, you had to burn some bridges to get where you wanted to go.
Yeah. I think when you just have so many days of being depressed and so down, and you hit a point where it's just like, okay, you have to do something about it. And it took me a while, but when I made that decision, the feeling was like, there's nothing like it. Like when you're doing something for yourself. And I knew that, cause you wake up in your bed, you brush your teeth, right? No one else is doing that for you.
Right.
So it's like, I kept telling myself, like, why am I trying to make other people happy? Because I'm a people person. I care so much about what other people think. But it's not fueling my cup, right? It's not helping me.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I'm not the only person that matters, but like, if you want to do what you're good at, you have to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Right. Or even even at a job that you don't like, you still have to take care of yourself. Right. And so I think it just was so many days of like being so unhappy and not like literally like I just would go without laughing, like not even wanting to talk to people because I was so down. And then, I mean, of course it was like hard burning those bridges and cutting it off. But when I did that, family's family.
Yeah.
I think that's what I've learned in this too. And in my situation now is that no matter what, family is family. They're always going to support you. They're always going to love you some way or another. Yeah. Right. So, but when I made that decision, I genuinely was like, I'm fucking done with my family, because again, like Filipino background, everyone's involved in everything. There's so much drama, or like, and then my relationship with my dad, I just was like, at this point, fuck it. And then, you develop other relationships out here and stuff, but it was hard, I think. But again, I look back and I wouldn't change anything, because it also made my relationships with my family stronger now.
Right. And as you reflect on it, the biggest thing that I think prevents a lot of people from taking action is that they worry about what people think without even actually knowing what they're thinking.
Right.
As you reflect on it, obviously your family dynamic sounds a little bit different than some, but were you overthinking the reaction that maybe your family would have without actually having the conversation?
Definitely. Yeah, because I look at how, like, my mom was just out here for my Culture's grand opening, and like seeing, like, she's so proud of me, and hearing that, like, and she was able to see it finally. But I think when you're so wrapped up too in what you want to do, and then you add the stubbornness of myself, like, I just assumed that they did, right? They were just kind of like, because you hear it, it's just like, you're quitting to be a nurse to go be a freaking like fitness coach. Like, what are you doing? Right. So I understand that, but I think I definitely probably like made stories up in my head, because it was the insecurity that comes out of it, because you care so much about what people think.
Yeah, it's true.
Right. But Yeah, but I think it's super important. I think people like our age around that, like, we're so conditioned to just go to school, get your degree, work your 9 to 5, work for benefits.
Yep.
Right? Without actually making time for the things that you want to do, you know?
I think it's pitched the wrong way, right? It's pick what you want to do in your life as an 18-year-old when you haven't even lived your life.
Yeah.
Right? You're coming out of school, maybe you haven't even worked at all. You have little experience in actually what you're passionate about.
Yeah.
And so you're forced to pick a degree, and then that could carry with you for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And that is a difficult transition for people to say, you know what, maybe what I knew at 18 is not what I want to do now that I'm 25.
Yeah.
And having to backtrack on some of that work. So
yeah,
it can be difficult for folks, especially for me. I mean, I came out of high school and I thought, you know what, I want to do the same thing, similar to what you did, where I want to be a doctor. So I picked pre-med, and I got into school and I hated it. Wanted no part of it. I didn't go to my biology class at all, somehow passed. And I was facing the same thing, right? I'm 20 years old now. I'm 2 years into college. My main focus is on football.
Yeah.
I love football.
Yeah.
But I have to pick what I want to do after football.
Right.
And I never really thought about it too much. So I then picked business, did a fairly basic business degree, business management, which is more theory than anything. But I think it highlights the fact that I think a lot of kids are struggling with that fact of pick what you're doing now and deal with the consequences after you graduate.
Right. Yeah. And then it's like, and then they don't teach you how to deal with that either. Like, but I think it's super important. And I think it's better now, right? Like the younger generation, like I think there's more resources and people are talking more. And then obviously like the advancement in technology too, you know, but there's a lot of support and resources out there. But I think I would have loved if I could have just like, obviously hindsight, but gone back in time and had somebody really sit down with me and be like, hey, what do you enjoy?
Right.
Because I never had that either. Like I just was like, I had to figure it out myself. Right. And then it's not a bad thing either, right? You go through it and you learn. But I think it's important for the young generation to know that like it's your life. Just do what you want to do. Right. Because I think, you know, looking back now, and I told you earlier, like I had to switch my mindset, you know, like, cause I went from a position where, I mean, I was making great fucking money and I could do really whatever I wanted. And I was lucky to do that, but was I happy? No. Right. But now I put myself in a position where, am I making anywhere near what I was making? Fuck no. I'm building right now. Right. But I'm wealthy in the sense that I wake up and I get to live out my passion. And I get to be around people, and I get to actually make a difference, and I get to make a change, and that's what fills my cup. Right. So really, like I feel like I'm rich. Right. Right. The bank account isn't, but my life is. Right. Does that make sense?
I mean, your path has been unique, right? You came out of high school, right? Coming out and saying, you know what, I want to play college basketball. You went to college, you played basketball, you kept chasing athletics with the goal, hey, I want to be in the NBA, WNBA, right? Jam on LeBron James. There we go. WNBA. And then you graduate and you say, you know what, now I have to find my next thing. And for that, you said, you know what, I'm going to try nursing school. And so you go to nursing school, you start picking up back into athletics as a coach, right? Doing a kickboxing gym. You then say, you know what, I'm not making enough money as a kickboxing gym manager. I'm going to go back and try nursing full time. You eventually realize that's not for you. Yeah. And you come out and you say, you know what, I'm going to do my own thing as a coach. Yeah. And take that next step. And it wasn't just managing a boxing gym. It was saying, you know what, I'm going to take a leap of faith on myself. Yeah. I'm going to build my own fitness and wellness community. Yeah. Talk us through that.
So opening up culture, different type of fitness concepts. We're not really like a gym, but I think when I go back, understanding that when I left nursing, that was like the first step for me in proving to myself that like, hey, this is right. This is my life. This is what I want to do, with what I'm passionate about. And I've been involved since then in the industry for 7 to 8 years now. And I mean, it's changed my fucking life. Like, all of my closest friends out here and even through like social media, like I've created relationships and it's just continuing to fuel my why for like what I want to do in life. And when you experience that so much and through training people, right? Being on a microphone, being on a stage, and then also with the experience of like running that kickboxing gym, or, you know, being involved that in that capacity, then I'm leading teams, right? There's just so many different things that I learned in that time frame that I knew that I just had no other option but to be involved in and continue to do this. And taking the leap to open up my own thing, I mean, that was fucking insane. And it's still scary. I mean, Culture's only been open for like a couple of days, over a month, you know, and that this is like a whole nother path for me on what I'm learning about myself. But I know what I'm doing is what I want to do.
Yeah.
Right. And getting to impact people, getting to lead, because, you know, I have a team there's 11 of us, 11 coaches, and I'm going to think about them. I just love them so much. I feel like we should talk about them. But it's a whole new venture for me. But again, it's still there of just being like, hey, this is how I want to impact people. This is what fuels my cup. I don't care if I'm not making hella money, but I'm living the life that I want to live, and I wake up every single day doing what I love.
I think it's a testament to you as well, because you have obviously built relationships over the last 7-8 years, as you said, through the fitness industry. And those people saw something in you to say, you know what, I'm going to come with Tina. Yeah. And I'm going to be a part of this because I know that it's going to be something special.
Yeah.
And there's a quote here I put, alone we can do so little, together we can do so much, which I think is kind of how that community is being built, right? Yeah. All these people are coming over and being a part of something that you're building.
Yeah.
And I want you to, for a second, talk to us about the concept around culture, because to me it seems very unique, where you have a variety of different classes, from boxing to Pilates, yoga, and general fitness. And it seems so unique, where it's all about getting people together, having conversations, building a group of people that do things together. Walk us through that.
Yeah. So, I mean, for starters, culture itself, I don't even want the brand to be seen as like, oh, you know, we're not another gym, we're not another workout. The concept is truly focused around social interactions and social relationships, you know, because I think everyone knows, especially after COVID, being around people and having a community is what is so important. Like, I see that just as vital as food and water. You know, like people need people. You need to talk to people. You need to just be around people. People rock. So I kind of just, and what I'm passionate about and what I learned about myself is that throughout my experience, and then just being around people, right? People always told me like, oh, you have the best energy. Like, I know that I'm confident I walk into a room that like, I'm going to make a difference somehow, whether it's the way that I talk to you or the way that I make you feel, whatever. Like, and that's why I called it culture, because in the workplace, right? Like, I learned from nursing and all my experience, like, culture is so fucking important. So what culture is passionate is about creating the best culture anywhere and everywhere. So our concept is, we're not even really a brick and mortar. I just want to impact as many people as I can, and I'll do that wherever I can. So the point of it is like, whatever space that we are at is that's it. We're going to create the best vibe there, and we're going to create that social community where people can come together and just feel a sense of belonging through movements. So I am trying to kind of like innovate group fitness itself, right? Where it's still like the same, but like I'm kind of trying to change the term. Instead of saying like classes or group fitness, I want to call it social movement, because I see culture as literally a social movement where we're socially around people, right? And we're moving our body through boxing, yoga, strength, and Pilates. But figuratively, I see it as like, we're a social movement that believes that social relationships and social interactions should be seen as one of the most important, vital, basic functions as a human that you need, right? Just like food and water. So the concept is really just about a sense of belonging and creating something special for people to feel a part of something. So it's more of like the community lifestyle kind of brand to me. But we just impact people through fitness, right? Yeah. Does that make sense? Does that actually make sense when I say that?
Yeah, you're coming to get together with people, and you just happen to be boxing at the same time.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
How did you come up with this idea? Because it's something that, to me, that's very unique.
Yeah. I mean, well, so right, when you think of business and what you got to think of the problem you're trying to solve, right? Yeah. So I know that in the fitness industry, like here or anywhere really, like as a consumer like myself, like boxing is my bread and butter. Like that's my main workout that I love to do, but I don't just do boxing, right? Like I strength train. or I also take days off, like I recover, or like, you know, I wouldn't say like I'm a yoga gal, but like I try, you know, try to kind of slow down. And I myself can't afford a shit ton of different gym memberships, right? Like I would love to be able to go and do boxing, you know, work out at the Axiom, whatever. So the concept also is like, how cool would it be for one person to just have one membership and have access to different type of movements, right? So it's
Right.
more inclusive and kind of setting you up to, you know, if there's a day where you're just dog tired, why don't you go do yoga instead of doing a strength class? Or
Right.
why don't you, you know, go do Pilates where it's like no body, it's just body weight instead of, you know, going hard and doing boxing.
Right.
So I think it's just more of kind of like the problem seeing that people don't want to just do one thing. And I think it gives people the opportunity to dabble into different things, right? Like, I have come across people that would never have thought to even try Pilates because they thought it was just this like trendy thing that just looks like really hard. They don't really know, right? So they go after a boxing class, like, you know, I'm gonna try Pilates tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I think that's so cool because it's also allowing people to explore different facets of fitness that they never even thought that they could do, but they know that they have the opportunity, an option to try it, right?
Totally.
So I think like business wise, understanding that the problem was that to me, there really wasn't a place that you can go to that gives you these group fitness boutique experiences, right? Under one umbrella. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So if someone hasn't come to your class, what can they expect?
Yeah. Well, my specific one, or just in general,
Any
like
of your
culture?
classes at culture, yeah.
Any of social movements. Social movements, Luke.
Right.
It's okay. I got it. You know, I'm gonna convert everyone to really start saying that. So it's a work in progress. But yeah, at culture, you know, we have boxing, which is we call it grind, strength training, which we call hustle, Pilates, which we call align, and then yoga is restore. So walking you through the 4 different types. Boxing, the social movement is more focused on, there's a half strength training portion and then there's a half completely just focused on boxing. And that class is it's a different beast because people will come in and never boxed before, right? But you're going to learn the fundamentals, the technique. And I think that's so important too. And I say this as a female, right? Learning how to protect yourself and just feel confident. Like, not that anyone's going to go out there and try and start a fight, but like, you never know. Shit happens out there.
Maybe it will be you now, right?
Yeah. You know what? I've been waiting for someone to test me, to be honest. And then the other half, we have these, they're like robotic digital platforms. Hold on. I didn't say that right. It's a platform that has digital weight. So it's super cool. And no one even knows about it out here. So I brought it here because I was like, oh, this will be really cool to introduce people to. And it's this platform, right? And you can go up to 200 pounds of resistance, right? I don't think anyone actually goes up to 200, but it pretty much replaces like all different movements you can do in a gym.
Right.
You know, so it comes with all this different equipment. So we kind of program it to where you have half strength portion, and then you have just dedicated time to focus on boxing, and we do different drills and pad work. That's our boxing class. And then our Pilates class, it's like mat Pilates style, where I invested into this product called a hero board, and it's like a moving exercise platform.
Cool.
Have you ever been to a Legree or a Pilates class before?
I haven't done Pilates.
No, I think you should try it because I think
I've heard it's really good.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
And there's great studios out here that just focus on Legree and Pilates, and they're awesome. But so this little board, it's literally like, it's like this big. You can't really see that, but whatever. And it just moves. So we're able to kind of mimic those movements in a smaller, more efficient way.
Right.
And then obviously yoga. I can't really speak to that because I'm so not our lead yoga coach, Claire. She's fucking awesome, but yoga is not my thing, so I can't really talk too much
not
about.
Very flexible.
But you know, yoga. Yeah, no.
Same.
I'm like that's the basketball, man. I'm just like go. I don't slow down.
I don't stretch. Never.
Yeah, no stretching. But we need to though. It's very
the Achilles
important.
got me. You know.
Yeah, we shouldn't talk about that. Yeah, but and then our last class is hustle, which is a strength, and this is all just a dumbbell format. So it's just, you know, low impact, low heart rate. It's all about just feeling strong and literally strengthening your body through, you know, utilizing dumbbells. So 4 different social movements to try. They're all really fucking awesome. And you actually need to come and try all of them. You did boxing already, but
I did boxing.
Yeah, of course you did. You're freaking boxing at heart.
I love boxing.
I know, man. You're freaking good at it too. You're getting better. I'm watching your videos.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I've always had a little bit of just wanted to let off a little bit of steam, right? And for
Totally.
me, boxing has always been that way to get that out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's been helpful.
Totally.
So obviously there's a lot of really cool things going on in culture. And I think if I was to sum it up, it's getting people together, social movements,
Yeah.
and it's innovating in the fitness industry.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So what can we expect from culture moving forward?
A lot of exciting things that I'm still trying to wrap my head around. I think the most beautiful thing about culture so far is just seeing the support. And I mean, you remember when I first released that video on my Instagram, like that thing fucking blew up. I was like, what the hell? And that's how social media is crazy like that. But it's just been so cool to see a community excited about something new or something that, that I built, and then you add the team in it. But moving forward, the goal is, like I said, to impact as many people as possible. So that means that more partnership locations. So, I call them partnership locations. So the first one we have is at the district, which is this awesome, beautiful apartment community, and where we do our classes in their clubhouse called The Point. And but I do have other locations that I already am in the works with talking to them about having our social movements there. So future is just like fucking being everywhere,
Is it a multi-location dream?
Yes. Yeah. More, I don't want to say, so in the warmer months, right? What's so exciting is that we can like do this stuff outside, because that's what I love about the concept, is that I don't have to be tied down to one spot, right? Like, and even at the district, like they have a green space out there. Like we can do yoga classes outside in the park or whatever,
right.
So the goal is to really just have these different, I want to call them like pop-up locations, pop-up events, to where anybody who's a member has access to not only these 4 different movements, but now has access to exciting different locations or different events, right? Like my grand opening that I had, we partnered with Cold Cowboy Club with Dr. John, and he led everybody through cold plunges. And then Cold Plunge Cam is another awesome guy. He brought his sauna tents, and it's just like doing things like that,
right?
Because culture itself it's not just a fitness brand, right? That's why I called it like Culture the Wellness Collective, because there's so many different things that we can do. And the term wellness means so many different things, at least to me. I kind of feel like, and tell me if you agree, like I feel like fitness is shifting into wellness.
It is.
People really, really care about how they feel when they move their body. It's not so much about just like fucking grind, right?
Yeah.
Like so it's cool to add different, the Cold Cowboy Club, right?
Yeah.
But again, the goal is to just, you join as a member. It's kind of like you're joining a club, right? And you get to do all these fun events or these fun social movements, and you get to meet a bunch of people, or you just get to feel like a part of something.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Have you been able to start to, as you've gone on with these different social movements, get some organic ideas of what can I do in the future? Has it been some of that just organic growth?
Yeah. Well, I mean, so with culture, I'm gonna be completely honest.
Yeah.
I fucking woke up one morning and the idea just came to me.
It came to you.
It just came to me.
Amazing.
And then from there, I made the decision. Are you gonna do something with it or you're not? And I just fucking sent it.
Yeah.
So this whole process, every day I'm learning something different, or different ideas pop into my head, or, so it's like an evolving. I feel like I have the concept down, right? Like it's a social movement. It's not another workout. It's not another gym. You have access to different, with one membership, you have access to 4 different types of social movements, and you have access to future locations and events. But even today, I can show you my notes. Like I just wrote down so many different ideas that I have that is going to continue to build community and make people feel a part of something. So
yeah.
I think, and you're like an entrepreneur too, like shit just happens and you just roll with it.
Just roll with it.
But I think my biggest realization with doing this whole thing is that, and I hope other people like listen to this if they're in the same situation that they want to like do something for themselves, is that if you have an idea that keeps you up at night, or you just can't stop thinking about, or you're scared to fucking do it, you should fucking send it.
Yeah.
Because like the days after that I had that idea, I did not fucking sleep. Like I did not eat, I did not sleep, because I was so fixated on this, like doing this because it scared me so much. And I was just like, I could see the future with it. Like ever since I came with that idea, my vision has always been clear for what I want to do, right? I just had to articulate it in the right way, to market it the right way. But it kept me up at night, you know. And I think, again, going back to like being the type of person that quit my career that made me great money and kept me so stable, it's the same thing with this. It's like I have this idea that I have to do, and hopefully people vibe with it. But if they don't, like, this is what I'm passionate about, right?
Let's zero in on that for a second. I think that's a super powerful concept of having an idea, but then taking it into action.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? You obviously started culture, and you have these other ideas that are going to make that better.
Mm-hmm.
How do you go from simply having the idea to the end result of actually making it into a reality? What are the steps or processes that you follow? Mm-hmm. Whether it's a sounding board, bouncing it off people that are close to you, tinkering it with just yourself. Like, what is your process?
Well, I think, again, when I first had the idea, I went straight to my computer and started just writing stuff out. You know, I think, you know, if we're going to get into like the business, the entrepreneur, like, okay, what's your vision? What's your, you know, your 3-year plan, your 5-year plan, your 10-year plan? So, you know, I did all of that kind of stuff, understanding like, you know, what's the brand's why, what's the problem. And then once I kind of solidified that and I saw, I was like, yeah, like I have something here. That's something that's different in this market. And then you add your passion and your passion to that. But I think the most important thing, especially now that I'm still trying to work through, is making sure that you take care of yourself too. Yeah. Right? Because it's just going to consume you. You know, like I said, when I had this idea and I went forward, I mean, I was so stressed out. I was just like, I didn't eat, I didn't sleep, I didn't, you know, I still made time to like work out and stuff. But I think now that I'm, the steps are just like, make sure you're good. You know, you have this idea that you want to do so bad, but make sure you're doing the things that allow you to make this idea happen, right? Yeah. So the action is like understanding my non-negotiables to make this happen is like, okay, this is very basic. As long as I get to work out, eat what I'm supposed to, and sleep right, that's going to fuel me and help me to continue this idea, right? So it's like the easiest one. And then the next steps is just like you said earlier, bouncing it off of people that you're close to. You know, I talked to my family about it. I needed that sounding board. Yeah. Is this a stupid idea? You know, and of course they're scared as shit. They're like, well, it sounds like you're going to be investing some money that you don't have. And I was like, send it. Get the credit cards out. We got to bootstrap this thing. Yeah. And then I'm super organized in the sense of like, I write everything out. And that, like, that's why I said, like, my notes, you know. So I think like always having something that you can jot your ideas on. Hopefully I get back to them. I don't know if you experienced that, where like I'll write stuff down and then like I'll forget that I wrote it. Yeah, I'll find it later in my notes. Yeah, like, exactly. Wow, that's a great idea. Yeah. You're like, hey, who did that? But I think, you know, making sure you're good, taking care of yourself, and then having people to talk to about it. Right. And then making the decision.
Do you lean on your team at Culture a lot to do things for you now that you've spun it up, you've got everything in place? Are they able to run with a lot of it to take that burden off of you? Oh, yeah. I mean, the team that we have, they're so unmatched. Like, I am so grateful for them. And this is another thing that adds on to Culture is that I'm a huge believer, you are nothing without your people. And I've learned that just through my childhood and everything. You are nothing without your support system. You are nothing without your people. And allowing yourself to be okay with that. Because that's another thing that I had to struggle with, is that I know that I can do everything. Mm-hmm. Like, I've seen it. I'm capable of it. I fucking did it. So, but you're stronger, and you can, I know that I can impact more people when you have a solid team who also are passionate about the same things that you are. Right. And, you know, all of them are great. There's 10 of them, 11 including myself, and they all focus on their different modalities, right? So I have some that just focus on the boxing, some that just focus on Pilates, etc. And they all also have their own experience in the group fitness industry. So, you know, I pretty much feel like I hit the jackpot with them, because they just have the experience, but the willing to continue to grow and the willing to help me grow Culture. Right. Because they're also, you know, I feel like when I first announced Culture, like I was like the brand, and then I introduced them. They're the brand. The members are the brand. We're all Culture. So it feels really, really good to have a team of people that see the vision that you want to create, and also are just so good at what they do, and they're so passionate about it. Like today,
actually this whole week I told myself, I was like, I'm going to take as many social movements from them as I can, because like I love being around them, but also like it's so awesome because I learned from them too. You know, so today I did a back-to-back. We had our strength dumbbell class, and then we had our Pilates class, like 6 and 7. And it was Coach Juan and Coach Nina. And they're just two different, you know, literally they're man or female, but they're so different in personality. And it's just so freaking cool to watch. And then watching them impact people and how they interact with people, so fucking awesome.
It's amazing.
Yeah. And then, you know, I have one of our assistants who helps like set up classes. That's the hard thing about this concept too, is right.
Yeah.
I'm not just a brick and mortar.
A lot of logistics, right?
A lot of so many fucking logistics, yeah. Luke. But in the best. This is great. I'm like that. What's that emoji? Not emoji. That dog that's like on fire, and he's like, it's fine. You know, that
just
picture.
Drinking some coffee.
Yeah, no, literally, that's sometimes how I feel about like all the logistics and working through that. But we have assistants that help us set up the classes. So, you know, I've been able to have people to trust and lean on in this whole process too. And that's what's also helped culture as well. You know, like I said, you are nothing without your people, without your team. And if you're someone that doesn't realize that, like, you'll learn real fucking quick, you know?
Yeah. So as you look to the future of this culture wellness collective, obviously you've been through a lot in terms of building your mindset, getting through tough times, mental health struggles. How does this community help to lean into folks and give them some of those outlets and support just overall wellness? Yeah.
Well, I think, you know, if we just talk about like literally moving your body, like it's one of the healthiest things you can do for yourself, you know? So you have the physical aspect of it, which is going to be fun, right? And then you have the community and being around people, like whether they're like-minded or not, all different sorts of people that you get to connect with. So I think the mentality and the philosophy for these people is just that you get that sense of belonging, and you're doing it in a way that's going to, one, create community, make you feel good, but also do good for you, both physically and mentally. That makes sense?
It does. Yeah. So obviously you've done a lot here to spin up Culture of the Wellness Collective, right?
Yeah.
It's a huge part of the community now. You're a month in. It's crazy.
Yeah.
As you reflect on it, what have you learned most about business itself, right? You said you bootstrapped some of the funding here through credit cards.
All of it.
What has that been to you, and what have you learned about it?
Shit. So much, Luke.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many different aspects to being an entrepreneur and owning a business. Like, I mean, I'm in I have this awesome team, and, you know, they focus on running the social movements and setting up the classes, but there's so much that goes into keeping this going or moving forward. Right. And I think if we get super businessy, you know, you got all the hats, you know, you got accounting, social media, marketing, sales, like all these different things. So I think I'm still in the process of learning how to organize all of that, right? And looking into, because you can't do everything, right? Like, I literally tell myself that all the time. You can't fucking do everything. So I think the biggest thing is like financially, like whatever you're investing into has got to bring you some return back, right? Like I'm sure there's so many small business owners or entrepreneurs out there that just keep continuing to bootstrap and just to stay afloat. Right. So it's like figuring out, okay, I have this awesome concept. How do I create it or scale it so that it's able to run and continue to fuel the business, right? Because I don't want to be in the position where I'm just like covering costs. Right. Does that make sense? So like we're talking like super business, you know, I think that's a hard thing to do.
Does the model that you've built support that at some point where you can get to the place where you're scaling?
Yeah, it will. It will. I think, because in the beginning, like I said, I bootstrap. Like, I'm not kidding. I literally, how culture started was me opening a shit ton of credit cards. So my credit score is real nice right now. But yeah, so, you know, I chose to invest in certain equipment, and, you know, because I also, you know, I'm a gal that likes Lululemon. I'm a gal that likes the nicer things in life. So the equipment that I got, super nice, super expensive too.
Nice.
Right. Yeah. But so, you know, that's kind of what I spent majority of the money on. So then we just have to make that back, and then once that's all paid off, then we just kind of go, you know.
I love it.
Yeah.
Along this journey, you also became a Lululemon ambassador.
Yes.
How did that happen? Because that was before culture was even a thing.
Yeah, it was.
Talk to me about that.
man, I freaking this being a Lululemon ambassador. So one, obviously Lululemon's nationwide, right? So each store has, I think they say it, three ambassadors, train, sweat, and yoga. Oh, you know what? I probably butchered that. I just know I'm the train ambassador. But it's a huge accomplishment for me in that industry because I mean, Lululemon it's fucking Lululemon, one, right?
Big time.
And for me personally, like I've been in love with Lululemon since I was in high school. So now to represent the brand in that store just means so much to me. And really what it is, it's like a partnership with the local Lululemon team, that you represent their store, you're involved in the community, right? So I think they look for people that impact the community and do something through these different movements that's in line with kind of what Lululemon is.
Right.
Yeah, so it's just, I mean, it's crazy. Like literally I go into the store and your picture's up there, you know, like it just blows my mind every single time like that I accomplished that. And I get to team up with Lululemon to make an impact in my community.
Right.
You know, so, but how that happened was just my years in the industry and impacting people and connecting with people. And, you know, like I've trained thousands of people, and once you do that, you're kind of just in this position where like people in the fitness industry, they, you know each other. Like I know like so many different coaches and so many different members at different places, like, and Boise's small like that too. Right. So just kind of, I think how it happened is just, you know, me coaching, me being involved in the community, like even going out. Cause the cool thing about Lululemon is like, you don't have to be a coach to be an ambassador.
Right.
Like they just look for people who are in line with their visions and their goal. And like Lululemon's super inclusive, you know, they care about impacting communities. And I think that's just kind of what they look for when they have someone represent the brand. So, I mean, I'm so lucky to even have that honor.
It's amazing.
Yeah. It's so fun.
So Lululemon, business owner,
yeah,
coach, you're wearing all these different hats.
Yeah.
Now that you've done all these things, where do you still find yourself being the most at home? Is it owning your own business? Is that your new passion? Is it, you know what, I still love doing some coaching, so I'm going to lead some coaching? Where do you see yourself as an individual fitting into your long-term vision of where you're going?
You know what? Actually, I love this question because I've been actually thinking about this just in this past like couple weeks because it's shifting for me, right? Where I'm so used to just coaching or just, you know, kind of leading a team or whatever. But now I think I'm really realizing like I have such a passion for being like an entrepreneur and learning about what it takes to keep, you know, run a business.
Right.
And that's been super fun for me and super challenging and really stressful. But I'm finding like the passion is kind of shifting. I mean, I'm always going to be a coach no matter what. And everything that I do, I consider like, if anyone were to ask me like, who are you? I'm a coach. Like, that's kind of what I feel like. But I don't coach as many social movements, you know, like I run, you know, our grind classes, our grind social movements. But it's more about training the team and leading them so that we can all impact, you know, people. It's not just me anymore.
Right. You're coaching the coaches now.
Exactly.
That's your new role.
Yes. Yeah. Coaching the coaches and coaching culture.
Yeah.
Culture is the baby.
As you started this business, are there mentors that you've leaned on, or has it mostly been just going out and doing your own research and kind of doing it on your own?
You know, I think honestly it's been, I wouldn't say like I have one mentor. I'm actually like looking for like business coaching, honestly.
Yeah.
So I've been doing a lot of research and looking into different like entrepreneur groups because, and I've heard this before, and I've seen it in these different like groups that they have, but like entrepreneurship's really lonely. Like, I don't think people really understand what it takes to be a small business owner, be a business owner in general.
It's a lot.
You know, it's like, I mean, I'm literally working every single second of the day. Like, I don't stop at all because everything's affected, you know, social media, people messaging you, your team texting you, or like these ideas coming to your head. Like, I don't think people understand what it takes to be in that position to run a business, right? So I think I'm just like kind of learning as I go. And I think the main thing is like I have such an awesome support system with like my friend groups, and then like now my family, you know, we've healed our relationship. Mm-hmm. So yeah, but it's also a lot of research. Like, I'm not kidding. Like earlier you said, you fake it till you make it. Like you figure it the fuck out.
Yeah.
You know, like there's the other day I was talking to my tax accountant, and I sent him my own version of a P&L, and he kind of just was like, "Oh, Tina."
Your version of a P&L.
Yeah.
I like how you put that.
It was definitely my version. I went on Google Sheets and I was like, here's what I think it should be. But, then you learn from that. Now I know exactly how the P&L should be.
But you wouldn't know unless you went through it.
Exactly. Right. Yeah.
So as you look at the business and you reflect, what would you say to people who are out there thinking about doing something like you, right? Taking the plunge, what would your advice be to them?
Well, business-wise, I think like if you have an idea, right? And the idea is what starts something.
Yep.
But I think it's, really like understanding your own why and your own passions and what you want to do, right? I feel like people talk about that all the time. Like what's your why? But it's so important because that's what fuels you every single day. Like even when I coach people, like when they don't want to do any more burpees, I link it back to why the fuck they're in here in the first place. And that's always what's going to motivate you. So I think if you're somebody that maybe is feeling lost and wants to do something like this, like it's really sitting down and just writing shit out and understanding like, why are you here?
Yeah.
And I heard somebody say this, and I think this is more just kind of like personal. And this is kind of a quote that I live by, especially now, is that I'm not better than anybody, but nobody's better than me.
I like that.
What I'm curious, when you hear me say that, what does that mean to you?
There's no ego, but I know that if I'm faced with any challenge, I can overcome it.
Hell yeah. Yeah, and that resonates me with so much because, and I've struggled with this too. Like I'm a pretty confident person, and it took me a while to get to this point to where like sometimes my ego gets the best of me, right? And like I could totally walk in and be like, yeah, I'm better than anybody in here, but that's not the type of person that I want to be or I feel like I am. But at the same time, I also know that nobody is better at me than what I do, right? No one's better than me. So in the sense of like, I can see that even with culture, because it's like a community thing, right? Or just myself or how I lead people, getting them to understand that like, or me, you are not better than anybody because you are nothing without your people, right? How you treat people is so important, or how you view people is so important because it's an authenticity thing, right? Like I think people aren't stupid. They can read into if you're being inauthentic or not, right? So it's understanding like, you're not better than anybody. You're here to support people, right?
Yeah.
And then on the flip side, you got to have that confidence and know that nobody is better than you, right? Like I know that nobody works harder than I do.
Right.
And yeah.
You only get there by doing the proof, right? Stacking the proof. And I think it's as a coach, it's a balance. Like you said, you have to have the confidence that, I've been through some of the things that people I'm coaching are experiencing right now.
Yeah. But
also I am not so far removed from that struggle that I can't relate to them.
Exactly.
And help get them through it.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know why we went on that, but you were asking me if I were to give advice.
Yeah.
Right, to somebody.
Any other advice for people that are looking to start their own business, take that plunge?
I was talking to one of my friends, now Taryn, when I was on her podcast, and I was telling her, I was like, if you're someone that has an idea that really feels like it's going to take off and it keeps you up at night, fucking send it. Just figure it out and do it. Research, talk to people who are in the industry, and live your fucking passion, because at the end of the day, it's your life.
Yeah, and you only know if you go through it, right?
Exactly.
You'll never want to have those regrets looking back.
Totally. I love it.
So I want to pivot to our last section here, rapid fire questions.
Oh, shit.
You ready?
Okay.
All right. First, one item you can't live without at the gym.
At the gym?
Yep.
Right now, the Stairmaster.
You're a Stairmaster queen.
I am a Stairmaster queen. I'm actually... I'm thinking of Julia because I'm doing my own challenge right now that I'm doing the Stairmaster for 30 minutes every single day for 30 days.
Wow.
Hell yeah.
What got you on that?
Honestly,
one day you just saw it and said 30 days, you and me.
I looked at Stairmaster, we're going on a date. No, because I've also had to I don't work out as hard as I used to.
Okay.
Because when I can't anymore. Because when I just...
We're getting old.
Yeah. We're getting old, and just like the schedule's different. Yeah. I don't have 2 hours to be in the gym anymore.
Sure.
So, and I've kind of also like scaled back on how hard I push myself
Mhm.
in a different way. Like I'll still like go to the gym and like lift really, really heavy or whatever, but I used to do so much fucking cardio, like high intensity cardio.
Right.
And that's just not for me anymore.
Right.
I get that enough in boxing if I get to train. So the Stairmaster is something that, oh my God.
Oh, I'm going to keep that in for the bloopers. Holy shit.
That just came out. Shit. Anyways, okay.
Stairmaster reaction. Wow.
The Stairmaster, it's something that like gets my heart rate enough, and it's also just working the booty and the legs. Let's just be honest.
There's the honesty.
There's the honest answer.
It took us about 5 minutes to get to that.
We're not going to be inauthentic here. Who doesn't want a nice sculpted ass and some nice legs? And I feel like, you know what? The Stairmaster is going to be the thing to do it.
There it is. There it is. Love it. All right, next. Favorite cheat meal?
Popcorn.
Popcorn? What the hell? Like kettle corn? Cheese pops? What are we talking about?
So I have ADHD, right? Like I hyperfixate on foods. Like the main, I'm not gonna say the bad one because popcorn's not bad. It's an amazing snack. But I tend to eat. That has been my guilty. Like throughout December, popcorn has been.
So you're just eating popcorn, looking over your shoulder, like who's watching me right now?
Dude, I've been eating so much popcorn.
Wow.
Yeah.
If popcorn's your cheat meal, there's something wrong there.
There is something wrong.
Wow.
Well, you know what? I wish I could have said like, oh, like freaking Chick-fil-A, but I'm not even like I'm a snack girl. I'm a snack girl. Do you know what True Fruit is?
No.
Luke, I will buy you some True Fruit.
Is it a popcorn?
No. True Fruit is the best dessert that you'll ever have in your fucking life. Let me tell you why. It's fruit. It's frozen fruit covered in chocolate. And it's the fucking best.
Just like bite size or like
dude, it's bite size. Like they have banana, raspberries are the best ones, and then strawberry. So the one that I love, and they have it at Costco. If you want to go and get it in the big size, it's dark chocolate and a little bit of white chocolate under the dark chocolate, and then fresh raspberry. But of course, it's like frozen.
It does sound good.
It's so fucking good. So popcorn and True Fruit.
There it is.
That makes it a little cooler because I added True Fruit.
First thing you do when you wake up?
Look at my dog.
It's just he, she?
Fletcher. He's a boy.
He's just staring at you? He's just waiting for you to get up?
No, I'm staring at him.
He's snoozing.
Because he's the fucking cutest thing I've ever seen in my life. No. Yeah. I think, to be honest, I get my phone.
Yeah.
I didn't want to admit that. But I definitely grab my phone. Is the first thing I'm working on that.
Is it because of business? You're focusing on like, what do I need to do right now? What are emails I'm missing?
Emails,
Classes
just social media. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like checking how many people are in the social movement. Yeah. So I'm just trying to work on, honestly, like I wish I could be that person right now that just wakes up and like meditates or like journals, or actually what I want to start doing is waking straight up, don't touch my phone, and go make a boiling water. I said that really weird. But I heard hot water or warm water first thing in the morning with some like lemon and salt. It's really good for your digestive, get things going.
Nice. I've been doing a warm chocolate LMNT.
Element,
Those are
the
good.
salts,
Yeah,
so fucking good.
So good.
They're so good.
The chocolate ones are pretty good.
I haven't tried the chocolate
hot water.
ones. Okay.
That's different.
I'm a big fan of the watermelon one.
Check it out.
Yeah, I will.
All right. Is there a book that has impacted your wellness philosophies or business philosophies?
Okay, so I'm gonna go with business. I'm more of a podcast type of gal.
Okay.
My ADHD doesn't allow me to. I can't focus on the book.
Audible podcast.
Audible, yeah. But for business wise, Traction, the entrepreneurial system, EO.
Yep.
Have you heard of it?
I've heard of it. I haven't read it.
It's a great. I should let you borrow it. It's an awesome book, and it's helped me so much just organize the structure of business because it goes through like your vision, traction, your 3-year, 5-year, 10-year plan.
Use that to build out your vision for culture.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Love it. Funniest or most embarrassing gym story?
Gym story. Can I tell you the most embarrassing thing that I've ever done?
Yeah.
I can't believe I just even put myself in this position to just. Okay. In class, like in college.
Yeah.
I peed my pants.
Wow.
I'm just gonna put it out there.
Just because, or
no,
like in a test?
No, I'm gonna let you wonder how the situation happened. No, so this was back in California. It was our anatomy class, and I was on a huge kick of drinking like gallons of water a day. Well, that's a lot, like a gallon a day. That's a lot. Just shit ton of water.
Yeah.
And we were in our final, so we're taking you have the 2 courses, you have the didactic and then the lab. And these tests are like 6 hours long. So I already had finished the didactic portion and walking towards the lab, and I was kind of thinking like, I should probably go to the bathroom. Like, it's probably a good time to do that because this is about to take another 3 hours. And I even chugged more water.
Wow.
And then I'm thinking about this, we're waiting in line to go into the classroom. And I'm having these thoughts, okay, I should definitely go to the bathroom. And then I was like, no, I'll be fine. Whatever, we'll push through it. And then as I'm like, no, fuck it, I should go to the bathroom. The teacher comes out, I was like, okay, everyone come inside. So I was like, all right, fuck it. Go and take the test. And I'm just going along. This test had how many questions? Like probably like 200. And halfway through, I start to feel my bladder like, okay, it's time to fucking go to the bathroom. But you can't leave your test, right? Because it's timed, and then they lock the doors and all this shit. So I was just like, fuck, okay, we gotta just keep going. So now I'm like struggling to even focus on the test because I have to pee so fucking bad. And I'm just moving along question by question. And then I think I had maybe 15 questions left. And I'm telling you, I am squeezing my legs so fucking tight. I've like you've never fucking seen. I am so just like, holy shit, I have to pee so bad. And yeah, we get to that question, and then because there was so much water in there, I just couldn't be held, and I just fucking started peeing. And I remember how old was I? I had to be at least
20.
No, I think I was 9. No, probably 19 or 20.
Yeah.
A fucking 19, 20-year-old just.
Did anybody look at you, or was just like, oh, that's just another
Well, the good thing was like everyone was so focused on their test that like no one was looking around. But I happened to look up, and my friend made eye contact with me and saw me peeing, and then I ran out, obviously. So I was peeing. Wow. Fucking, it's pretty embarrassing, Luke. I can't believe I'm honestly just telling people this, but yeah. So I ran out, went to the bathroom, and at first I could not stop laughing because I was like, I cannot believe a 19-year-old just pissed her pants in a test. Did you get an
A? That's the key.
Here's the crazy thing. After I had experienced that, I went back into the classroom, jeans wet and all, didn't give a fuck. And my teacher was like, are you good? Are you okay? And I was like, I'm gonna be honest, I just peed my pants, and that's why I left. Can I please continue to finish the test? And he didn't know what to say because who pees their pants at that age?
Yeah.
Sober. And he let me, and then he sent me an email after grading, and I got the best score in the fucking class.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
You did it.
The moral of that story, the point of that story was pee your pants in your class.
Get some bonus points.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. Young kids, listen up. All right. Any health trends that are happening now that you don't believe in?
No, I don't think I actually can think of something that. Yeah, no, I don't. I think I'll say the coolest and the best trend I think right now is the cold plunge in the saunas.
Yeah,
I'm all for it.
You cold plunging yourself?
No, but I will. At our grand opening,
I love watching people cold plunge.
I love watching. No, but I have done it before.
Yeah.
And it is something that I am going to get into it because, especially after the event we just had, like hearing Dr. John and Cold Plunge Can like talk about the benefits of it, and then of course you do your own research, and it's all over. It's blowing up right now, and I think it is really beneficial to just incorporate because I think it's like a mental thing.
It is. I've noticed the biggest change.
Yeah, you
just
do
from
it.
Mental toughness, right?
Yeah.
When you don't do it, you're like, dang. But if you do, it's like, man, I can accomplish anything today. So it's been a huge part for me over the last month, just getting into it.
Yeah. Cool.
Last one here. If you could have any superpower, what would it be?
Probably to fly.
Why?
Because that's fucking cool. Can you imagine? That's I think actually, flying, because then you can just go wherever. Like,
sure.
I was gonna say teleport, but like I would love to experience like woof.
Yeah, teleportation's like the equivalent of the culture of wanting things right now.
Yeah.
Whereas like we want to experience the journey.
Yeah, I love that.
There it is.
That's why I said that. What's your superpower?
That's a good one. I think super speed.
You want to be the Flash?
Yeah.
Why can't I see you being the Flash?
I've always had a certain level of speed. I think now after my Achilles injury, I'm kind of slow.
Yeah.
I'm running on the treadmill now, and I'm like, man, I'm so fast. And I video myself to say like, am I going fast? And I look like a turtle.
Yeah. What in football? What position did you play?
I was a receiver.
Okay.
I ran
You
a
were
pretty
fast.
fast 40, like a 4.4,
Yeah?
which is pretty fast.
Huh.
But I was just not. I was burned out at the end of college,
Yeah, I'm sure.
and so I didn't keep playing. But I probably
Yeah.
could have if I would have tried harder.
Yeah.
So
You're the Flash now.
I'm the Flash.
I'm just gonna put you in my phone contact. The Flash.
Well, as we wrap up today, are there any final thoughts about anything you're doing related to culture? Anything that you want anyone to know about your journey? Any final thoughts here?
I mean, I think like to wrap it all up. I mean, we talked about a lot of different things and covered a lot of. There's a lot of different facets we went down. But I think business wise, like if you're someone who is an entrepreneur, you have that like motivation, you have these ideas, like just fucking risk it, you know, because it's your life. You know, no one's gonna tell you no. Be stubborn. And I think if there's like anyone young that's like listening to this, don't be scared to do the things that you want to do, right? Like think about what makes you happy in this current state that you're in and just continue doing it. And then I think I love like just talking about that quote that I said, like you're not better than anybody, but nobody's better than you. You are not better than anybody in the sense of like your people are so important. It's okay to lean on people. It's okay to have a support system. Because at the end of the day, you're going to burn yourself out. And you should not act like you are better than anybody because you don't know who's going to be in the room. And you should also want to learn from everybody and anybody, right? No matter what it is, there's always something to take away. And on the flip side of that is have the confidence in yourself and push yourself past boundaries, that knowing that nobody's better than you at what you do.
Love it.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I appreciate you being open and honest today and look forward to doing this again in the future.
Luke, this was so fantastic. Also, Luke has the best podcast voice, mic voice ever. So if anyone out there is listening, somebody should hire him for like a Audible book or something.
Let's do it. You heard it here first.
Yeah, but thank you for having me. This was awesome. I'm glad we did this.
Thanks again.